As I sit here recounting the story, I can't help but feel a chill run down my spine. It's not just the details, it's the weight of knowing that something so horrifying could happen in a place as serene and peaceful as Helena, Montana. This is the story of Lori Ernst, a woman whose life was tragically cut short by someone she trusted. But let me start at the beginning, because every great mystery begins with a single moment, a moment when everything changes. Helena is the kind of town where people leave their doors unlocked, where neighbors wave hello, and where crime feels like something that happens somewhere else. That's why no one expected what happened to Lori Ernst. She was 32 years old, an elementary school teacher who had dedicated her life to helping others. Her students adored her, her colleagues respected her, and her friends loved her deeply. Lori's best friend, Megan Rourke, often described her as the most reliable person you'd ever meet. She never missed a call, never flaked on plans. So when Lori didn't show up for their usual Sunday morning coffee, Megan knew something was wrong. By midday, she drove to Lori's house, hoping for answers, but what she found left her shaken to her core. The front door was slightly ajar. Inside, Lori's phone lay cracked on the floor, her car keys still sitting on the counter. And then there were the drops of blood near the hallway, just enough to send chills down anyone's spine. Megan called 911 immediately, and within minutes, police arrived to begin investigating what would soon become one of the most chilling cases in Helena's history. When the detectives entered Lori's home, they moved methodically, searching for any sign of struggle. They found her purse untouched, her wallet and ID still inside. But Lori herself was nowhere to be found. Outside, officers discovered something even more unsettling, a set of footprints leading from the front porch to the edge of the driveway, where they abruptly disappeared. Had she been forced into a vehicle? Or had she fled willingly? In the backyard, an officer noticed something caught in a bush, long strands of blonde hair, unmistakably Lori's. Nearby, lying innocently in the grass, was a single earring. It was clear now, Lori hadn't left on her own accord. Someone had taken her. As the hours turned into days, the search intensified. Friends and family were questioned, but no one seemed to know anything. The first 48 hours passed without a single lead. Then came a break. A neighbor's doorbell camera had captured faint audio from the night before Lori vanished. The footage was grainy, but it placed Lori outside her house at 11:37 p.m. A man's voice could be heard, though the words were muffled. One phrase stood out clearly: "Let go of me." Who was this man? And why was he with Lori that night? Detective Sarah Bennett, the lead investigator on the case, began piecing together the puzzle. She combed through Lori's phone records, emails, and social media accounts, looking for anything out of the ordinary. That's when she stumbled upon a name scribbled in Lori's calendar: Derek, talk. Derek Simmons. Lori's ex-boyfriend. The two had broken up 6 months earlier, but according to those who knew them, Derek hadn't taken the split well. He became increasingly obsessive, sending late-night texts and showing up uninvited at events. Some friends even mentioned seeing him parked outside Lori's house on occasion. When Detective Bennett brought Derek in for questioning, he played it cool. "I haven't spoken to Lori in weeks," he said. "We're on good terms." But phone records told a different story. On the night Lori disappeared, Derek had called her 5 times. Surveillance cameras also placed his truck near Lori's neighborhood around the same time. Still, they needed more than circumstantial evidence to charge him. They needed proof. Days passed without progress until a local hunter, John Taylor, made a shocking discovery while hiking in the woods just outside town. Buried in a shallow grave was the body of Lori Ernst. When the medical examiner conducted the autopsy, they found signs of blunt force trauma to the head and defensive wounds on her hands. Whoever killed her had fought fiercely to subdue her. But there was something else, a small piece of fabric lodged under her fingernail. Lab tests revealed it matched the lining of a jacket owned by none other than Derek Simmons. With this new evidence, police returned to Derek with renewed vigor. Under intense interrogation, cracks began to form in his alibi. He admitted being near Lori's house that night but insisted it was coincidental. "I went for a drive," he said, shrugging off questions about the jacket. "Maybe I dropped it somewhere." Detective Bennett wasn't convinced. She pressed harder, pointing out inconsistencies in his story. Finally, Derek snapped. "Fine. I saw her that night, okay? We argued, but I didn't kill her." His denial only fueled suspicion. If Derek hadn't killed Lori, then who had? To understand what really happened between Lori and Derek, investigators dug deeper into their relationship history. Friends described Derek as controlling, often jealous of Lori's friendships and career ambitions. After they broke up, he became increasingly obsessive, sending late-night texts and showing up uninvited at events. One former colleague recalled a particularly troubling incident. "She confided in me that Derek had shown up at her school one afternoon, demanding to talk. She was terrified, he looked like he might lose control." Armed with these insights, Detective Bennett revisited Derek's statements. This time, she focused on specifics: the exact timing of his calls, the route he claimed to have taken during his supposed drive. Each detail unraveled further, painting a picture of a man desperate to reclaim what he'd lost. Meanwhile, forensic analysts worked tirelessly to connect all the pieces. Dirt found in Derek's truck matched the soil where Lori had been buried. DNA from the strands of blonde hair found in the bush matched Lori's. And then came the final blow: a gas station receipt showing Derek had bought a shovel and torch the morning after Lori vanished. The trial against Derek Simmons captivated the nation. Prosecutors painted a grim picture: an obsessed ex-boyfriend who couldn't let go. Lori had rejected his attempts to reconcile, and in a fit of rage, Derek had lured her outside under the guise of talking. But when she resisted, he overpowered her. Defense attorneys argued that Derek was merely a convenient scapegoat, pointing out gaps in the timeline and suggesting alternative suspects. However, the weight of the evidence proved insurmountable. Inside the courtroom, tension crackled like electricity. Witnesses testified about Derek's behavior, painting him as a manipulative and possessive individual. Lori's best friend, Megan, broke down on the stand, recounting the last conversation she had with Lori. "She sounded scared," Megan admitted. "Like she felt trapped." During closing arguments, the prosecutor delivered a powerful monologue, urging the jury to consider the bigger picture. "This isn't just about one man and one woman," she declared. "It's about recognizing patterns of abuse and holding perpetrators accountable." When the verdict was read, a collective gasp rippled through the room. Justice had been served, but the scars ran deep. For Lori's family, the verdict brought some measure of closure, but the pain remained raw. At a press conference, Lori's mother spoke through tears. "Lori was taken from us because someone refused to respect her right to say no," she said. "No one should ever have to suffer like this." The community rallied around Lori's memory, organizing vigils and raising awareness about domestic violence. Lori's story became a rallying cry for change, a reminder that danger doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes, it's someone we know, someone we trust. As I reflect on Lori's case, I'm struck by how easily warning signs can go unnoticed. How many times did Lori try to tell someone about Derek's behavior? How many times did those around her brush it off as nothing serious? These are questions we must ask ourselves, not just for Lori, but for everyone who may be silently living in fear. If you or someone you know is in danger, speak up. Don't wait until it's too late. Lori's story is one of heartbreak, but it's also a call to action. Let's honor her memory by making sure no one else suffers the same fate.